the hearing of the matter on Monday, the court was first confronted with the issue of determining the counsel for the defendants. A mild drama played out when three lawyers announced appearance for the took-off action, which also had Prince Uche Secondus, Mrs. Kema Chikwe, and Mr. Olisa Metu as second, third, and fourth defendants. Vacation Judge Justice Ganiyu Safari rose for almost an hour to consider his ruling after listening to the submissions of all three lawyers. When the court reconvened, it eventually resolved the controversy in favor of Mr. Oluyede, who was the counsel on record. The court held that the other lawyers had not fulfilled the requirement of Order 48 of the Lagos High Court rules, which requires them to properly disengage the services of the counsel on record. After that, counsel to the Baraje faction accused the Tuko faction of using the police to seal off its secretariat in Abuja. The Baraje faction said the old PDP faction had violated the court's previous order to maintain the status quo pending the determination of the suit. It therefore asked the court to order the police to remove its armored personnel carrier vehicles from the secretariat and allow the new PDP access to their offices.
The court made an order on the 2nd of September that parties should maintain the status quo ante litem. And that is status quo that existed as at the 2nd of September 2013.
Counsel to the Tuko faction opposed this argument. He submitted that it was only an assumption that the police had acted on the orders of his clients, as there was no evidence linking them to the act. Justice Ganiyu Safari, in a short ruling, agreed with him that there was no evidence linking the Tuko faction to the closure of the Baraje Secretariat. The judge also reiterated his previous order that both parties should maintain status quo pending the determination of the matter.
Status quo in this matter is that a group of people who are not elected as the officers of PDP are claiming to be officers of the PDP. That's the status quo.
Now, the court has adjourned proceedings till the 17th of September, first to allow the defendants put their house in order as regards the issue of representation of counsel, and also to hear the preliminary objection filed by the defendants. Shola Shoyele for Channels Television News.
That's where we start off from today on Sunrise Daily, continuing with that developments within the PDP. Mr. Chimanaji joins us today, also a legal practitioner. Morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Yes.
Well, interestingly, I mean, yesterday we were even talking about this status quo and different interpretations coming from, well, it was Olisa Metu who said no. It meant that there was nothing wrong in going in to seal up the office of, quote, the splinter group, the new PDP, as they refer to themselves, saying they didn't even exist in the first place. But now we've seen this twist from the courts. What's your perception of that?
Well, the term status quo means as it is. If you now want to bring it back or forward, antebellum means before the problem, which means it is not necessarily as it is now, but what it was before this problem started. So it's a question of what adjective was used to qualify.
The lawyer says lighter.
Well, you see, you know, when you are listening to lawyers in a matter, a contentious matter, because this is a contentious issue. It's not a question of court coming to court for construction of a document or whatever, and by originating someone. But the lawyers have taken positions. You understand? And you must argue the case of your client, or as much as possible, be seen as pushing the position of your client, having been furnished some considerations to do so by way of your fees. You understand? Sometimes a lawyer might look so ridiculous. You'll be asking, did this guy go to law school? He'll be laughing at you because you don't know what is happening to his bank account. And that's also what is happening to even some policemen who come to court to give evidence. The judge will say, you are a disgrace to the force. The man will be retorting in his mind, if only you knew what I was paid, that I have been paid my pension and gratuity, and you are here talking about being a disgrace. You know, that's why people do certain things that may look ridiculous. In this situation, which is political, reason has completely taken a flight. because interests are involved. Most of these interests are so selfish and border so much on greed. Okay? And reason and passion, especially when these passions are rooted in sentiments, they are strange bedfellows. And if you bring the Nigerian factor into it, then you have a cocktail of confusion. So what is happening now is that the problem that have been created within a particular setting has been brought to the judicial angle. And the judiciary must be very careful, because the politicians are like soldiers of fortune. They have a way of plundering anything on their way. And we can see that in the plenitude of conflicting injunctions and so on, some of them that defy judicial reasons.
We also did ask yesterday that if the court says maintain status quo antebellum, which is go back to the way it was before that new development, does it then mean, can it be interpreted, because some people did, that in fact that's why they say, look, nothing wrong in going to seal off? And some others thought, well, you didn't necessarily have to even go and seal off, because if they had continued running that office and you go to court and say, well, they're running the office contrary to the court verdict or court judgment, then they'll be liable. So some then said it amounted to self-help going to seal off the office.
If I overheard clearly, one of the lawyers on the other side said that the people went to court after the sealing off. You understand? And because they went to court after the sealing off, the status quo before they came to court was that the place had been sealed off. So let the sealing off continue.
Oh dear.
Do you understand? But the lawyers on the other side will naturally argue that if they did not seal off that premises, there would have been no reason for them to have gone to court. And there's a legal maxim, ubidius ibi remedium. For every injury, there is a remedy. You understand? That is a legal maxim. In fact, the basis of justice. So it's now for the court to look at the materials placed before it. Remember that it may not necessarily be that the other people lost because they had no case. If their case was not properly articulated and canvassed, the court is not a Father Christmas. You cannot look that your tie is the other way and say, put it back. It's your business to put your tie back or fly it the way you want it. You understand? So that is the issue of justice. And that's why they blind the judge. It doesn't see.
It shouldn't see.
It shouldn't see. It shouldn't see. It doesn't see. Yeah? But if you think it sees and you see one eye open, maybe it is your own delusion. You understand? But quite frankly, it shouldn't see. Although in Nigeria, they put some binoculars. Sometimes it
sees.
It peeps.
Oh,
peeps. It peeps.
In all of this, you just touched on lawyers, some of their antics at making us believe that all else is working, when in actual fact we're just in one place, or sometimes not even moving forward at all. The crisis in the PDP being the ruling party at the center, for some they say it portends a whole lot to come in 2015, whatever that is. Do you think is for our own good?
It depends on how you want to look at it. If you have a helicopter view of what is happening now, and you want to be philosophical about it, you want to look at Hegel. Hegel, this German philosopher, partly 18th and 19th century philosopher. George Hegel had a philosophy, the phenomenology of the mind. And he talks about dialectics And today we have the Hegelian theory and the dialectics of history and all that, which you can thesis, antithesis, and then you come to synthesis. If you also juxtapose it with Karl Marx, who said that every system contains its own seed of self-destruction. Some people who deal on beans know that after some time you start seeing some ants or insects.
Yes.
Nobody imposed the thing on the thing, just, okay, maggots germinate from rotting meat, and so on and so forth. If the car is not by knocking, which is explosion, it implodes, either by knocking of engine and all that. So that is the fate of things that exist. What you have now is a progression within that Hegelian theory. For too long now, there have been too many complaints about the rambunctious manner PDP have run the affairs of this country at various levels. This is without prejudice to the fact that they are very nice, intelligent, creative, and highly patriotic people, many of whom do not have a say in the governance process of that party. Within that same party, those people who have actually championed most of those things that we have been complaining about are now at the receiving end. You see the contradiction now. Most of the people who go to hospital tell you that nurses are very averse to taking drugs or injection when they are ill. But they are very want to push you, look, let me give you this thing, I have a meeting to attend. Okay? So that is the same way. These people are very intolerant. They cannot receive the pills they have been administering on others. So that's what, and they have been empowered financially one way or the other. They have ingratiated themselves somehow along the line. So they use this money to resist. But this money will not work because the power quotient of the man now at the helm is higher than what their money and whatever. They kind of resort to either blackmail